Welcome to BizTok, where we talk to entrepreneurs, business owners, and brands who are using TikTok for business. And together, we bring you the top tips, insights, and secrets to skyrocket your TikTok account. So buckle up and get ready to become the next BizToker. Here's your host, Kyle Kaplanis.
Hey everyone, welcome to BizTok. It is Kyle Kaplanis here, and in the studio today, I have a really cool guest coming all the way from Portland. Her name is Maddie Kirby. She's a social media manager and content creator and has amassed a following on TikTok of 345,000 followers. I'm
so excited to talk about TikTok today. Ready to nerd out.
Exactly, we get to just geek out about TikTok. I always ask this question because I'm very curious. What got you started?
I actually remember it really clearly. I was on the public transportation here in Portland going to work, and I heard some kids talking about Musical.ly, because it used to be Musical.ly. They were all like fighting about it or something, and I decided, well, I'm bored. I'm going to download it. Vine had died, and I needed a new platform that I could post content to, and I was posting lip syncing videos because that was really in at that time. It wasn't doing well for me. It was terrible. I was doing a terrible job. There was a lot of cooler kids on that app than me. And then I just started to post skits instead, deleted the other content, and it kind of just took off from there.
I talk to a lot of people who say their original content of how they got started is so cringy.
It's bad. I had to delete it. I didn't want anybody to be able to see it. I think sometimes I'll go back to my old content every now and then, and I'm like, I can't. This can never come up again.
That's hilarious.
I've had friends that are like, oh, I'll finally go check it out. And then they pick the worst video to start on. And I'll be watching with them. I'm like, can you just swipe away, please?
Right. Can you go to my recent stuff? Because I'm like a pro now.
Exactly.
A lot of people I have on my show are pretty new to the app within just a few months. But you've got to see the changes dramatically going from a lip syncing app, which now so many people have that misconception is that's all it is lip syncing, dancing, and kids. But it's changed dramatically since that time. I mean, you've seen it all going through that. What are some of the best changes you think you've seen?
Skits, just being able to make your own audio is a huge thing. I think just relying on music back in the past made it not as creative. And I didn't think that it was a very creative app at first. But once I started leaning into skits, it made it more fun, and people were coming up with big, crazy different ideas of what audio could mean on the app. And also the algorithm used to be tailored kind of more towards who would like your content. Yeah. That's how I actually got popular, is a few popular creators liked one of my videos. And I was getting all of these comments saying like, Lisa and Lena, these twins who are really big on the platform, were liking my content, and your likes weren't private.
Oh,
so people could go stalk everything that people were liking, and they could tell you like how they found you.
Right.
So having a change in the algorithm to where it's kind of more tailored on people finding you because they like your content, I think is a really powerful thing. I don't think it should be all about who likes it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think those are the two biggest things that I've found that have made it a lot more creative.
I think TikTok was really creative. I mean, even with Musical.ly, like adding the sound feature was a really awesome thing. And I think it's still huge. And it's changed the way the whole music industry is actually working because of TikTok, because those sounds are being used. But I do love the fact that now you can make your own audio, like you said. You can make your own skits. You can just speak. So that's why I think the demographics are changing, is because, our generations are older are not used to doing a lot of these things. Like you're doing a lot of comedy, which is hilarious stuff, by the way, too. But there's a lot of people who just want to use it for education. And I think now, with being able to use your own audio in a fun way, people are able to come to the app and are able to, create these awesome educational videos, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And I think it allows me to show more of my personality. I am not a lip syncing pro at all. I don't think that's what people want from me. I can do all the trends I want with popular sounds, but people are like, can you just stop that and just do skits, which makes me feel fine because it's like my own ideas, I guess.
Totally. I mean, the only lip syncing videos I like is when it's not even a song, but it's somebody speaking. And I thought that they were originally the one saying it because they did it so accurately.
Oh yeah,
And then people in the comments are like, that's not even their sound. And I'm like, no way. Like, that was genius because it
I
was so
know.
perfect.
I get tricked all the time.
Those are the only ones I kind of like. The rest of them, I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, next.
And sometimes when people take a sound and can turn it into something completely different, you go and look at the original sound and it's something
Yes.
really like maybe wholesome or something, and somebody will take it and flip it, and you're like, what the heck is that? Oh my gosh. Or they'll make it really dark, or it's great.
Yes.
I love seeing stuff like that.
I love as well that people are feeling so much more comfortable and being able to just showcase all these different aspects. Like I think other social medias before in the past, it was like you were almost afraid to showcase those things because of like the trolls or haters. And on TikTok, people just embrace so many different varieties that everyone has their own like niche, and there's people that are going to love that style of content. And that's what's great, like you said, with the algorithm changing, it'll send you the right people that like that same style. So if you do change the sound and it's a little bit quirky, then somebody else might think the right audience is going to come and be like, man, I love this change to the sound. This is great.
I've been on a lot of platforms, and I feel like TikTok is actually the most supportive one. Maybe it's because of the algorithm. They find the right people to come to you that would like it, and people are more willing to back you up too. If
Totally.
they see people are hating on you, oh no, people will not stand for that, and they'll come after them.
They will. If you have some fans, they go to like the ends of the world lengths to make sure that you're recognizing that person is like shut down.
Yeah,
It is
especially
crazy.
kids. Kids
Yeah.
are so supportive, and I think that there's a narrative that needs to change around kids online. I think that adults are actually much worse,
Right.
and kids are great, and they're more willing to listen if you kind of want to give them feedback on their hate. Like I know I respond to hate by giving them like a heart emoji and saying, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much for like sharing your thoughts on this." And then they'll immediately just be like, "I didn't mean it. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to say this really mean thing that I just said." And then they'll take it back because they just want attention a lot of the
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
Actually have to give their generation credit for being so willing to just express how they feel and just say
Mm-hmm.
these things, because in the past they're kind of designed to not speak up, and now these kids are kind of just feeling comfortable to do so, and I think that's going to make them evolve into better people in the long run.
Yeah. No, they're definitely very filter free upfront, and then they can kind of learn really easily. How are you
Right.
supposed to have those conversations unless they're kind of giving their natural reaction to things?
You know what's so cool is this demographic, Gen Z, they actually love the parents being involved in videos. Like
Mm-hmm.
my daughter's videos do the best when my wife is in the video with her. Like
Yeah.
they're always like, "Where's your mom? Where's your mom?" And it's just so cool to see, because me, when I was growing up, if I had my mom in my video, it would not be cool. Like it would probably be like, "Oh hell no!" Like, why is your mom there? That's so cringy.
I think that has to do with the platform too, because I feel like having your parents on like a like YouTube, or when parents came to Facebook, that was a bad thing. But now
Right?
parents being on TikTok, everybody's just celebrating it. And I
Yeah.
love that. Or you see like a lot of old people
Yeah.
on the I love that. I
Me
love it
too.
so much. It makes my day to see people embrace other generations on the platform, because when it started too, it was just a kids app. Like you did not see adults on there barely,
No.
and it was really scorned a lot, or like thought of as like weird, or you're trying to be really young or something
Hmm.
and cool. But now I think it's really fun to see people collaborate with their parents, and I think it's a great way for them to be closer and also understand the platform that their kids are on.
The app itself pretty much is stood apart from others with their algorithm and all that, but the reply to comment feature is just a huge win, I
Oh
think.
yeah. If I don't have an idea for a video, somebody can help me by commenting. It's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. And you can also make somebody's day, make them feel special, and then it encourages people to then comment on your future TikToks because they want to be picked, and hopefully you'll
Exactly.
reply. That's kind of like how I've found a lot of success lately, is making these 2020 studying videos where
Yeah.
I'm replying to whatever exam questions people have.
I love those videos so much. And those seem to be doing really well for you. Anytime you make one like that, it seems to generate tons of views and get kicked out.
Yeah, at first, when I did my first one, it did really well. And then I did a second one, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is gonna work out. And then I started replying more to the comments with the video, and I found like I can take this forever. Like this
Exactly.
isn't gonna end. And that's the best kind of idea or series on TikTok that you can have is when the content is endless. Anything can
Exactly.
come to mind.
And now you've branded yourself in that kind of creative fashion. So that way when people think of, talking about like the historian, how you call yourself like the TikTok historian, people will think of you immediately and think of those videos and want to be involved and be like, oh, what's the new video she's done recently? Your audience now loves it too. So they're going to keep giving you so many ideas. Thing is, I love that you mentioned that it took you a long time. So there's a lot of people who struggle with that from the beginning. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, I tell them that's okay. Use this time, like even in your first year, just experiment with tons of things. It can change at any time too. So just always be open to understanding and trying out new things. So you never
Yeah.
know what's gonna work well.
I think something too is to remind people that they should always pick ideas that just in case it blows up, you might want to like that idea so
Yeah,
that you have to perform that over and over. If you don't like it and you don't want to be known for that, don't post it.
yeah, exactly.
You got to make sure that you have ideas and that you're okay with it ending up on the news or your parents see it or I don't know. Just there's a lot of situations that go like across my mind now when I think about that.
You are a social media manager, which when you think of social media, you think of all the other platforms. Is TikTok pretty much your favorite then from all of them?
Oh yeah. TikTok is fun. I feel like it's Instagram is all about kind of showing your best life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like TikTok, I can find people who are more like me. And that's what I want to find. And I feel like that's kind of what the new generation wants as well. Like there's people that you aspire to be on the platform as well, but you can easily just find somebody that's you feel like speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard on Instagram to find that because I feel like everything's just the same. It's selfies.
It is.
It's that's what does the best. It's selfies, it's pictures of just food. Like it's not very interesting. I can't really interact with that. Doesn't mean anything to me. But then I can find some other people that like feeding squirrels just as much as I do on TikTok, which is really weird. But I did get that on my feed and I was like, this For You page is really for me.
Right?
And you see that a lot from people. They're like, wow, For You really meant for you.
It
And
does.
it's great. Yeah.
It is. I think that's what definitely sets it apart. Somebody told me that the algorithm is actually so simple, but people think it's just this genius thing, but it's actually really easy because other social media has designed it to where whoever you are following, they put a little mix of everyone's in there to try to get everyone together, but they realized that doesn't work because the people you follow, you might not actually have anything in common with. So they realize, how about we just gear it to the actual person using it versus the other people? Let's make it for them, and then that will drive this right audiences of the actual people who have the same interest into that pool, which totally makes sense because my For You page is geared to me as well. I'll watch it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like every video, maybe one out of like 20, I'm like, whatever, but most of the time I'm like, I love it. I love it.
I know. Yeah. It's just, it's so funny. I feel like there's not many videos that I don't like when I'm scrolling through my feed. Maybe is a couple times and then you can just make it so that the algorithm doesn't show that to you anymore.
Exactly.
But you can also just go down these like really funny rabbit holes. If
Oh
you
my
like one
gosh.
cat video, you'll get another cat video. If you like
Yes.
a frog video, you're going to get a frog again. It just morphs. Like I think right now my feed is just filled with like old people being really adorable and just cats eating like people food, which is random, but it's great. And I love it. I love my feed. I look forward to it.
Right? It's so funny. And we talk in my household too. Like my daughter will be like, oh my gosh, I'm on Mexican food TikTok right now and I'm obsessed. And
Yeah.
I'm like, because I that's my favorite food. I'm like, how do I get on there? And then she's like, I'm gonna tag you in a video so you can like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it takes. It takes one like sometimes. It's
Yeah,
pretty yeah, it's very sensitive algorithm, it
it
seems like.
is. I started my new TikTok, BizTalker. I tried to make my related to what I'm trying to do. so it doesn't veer off. And I accidentally liked a couple cat videos. And now they're starting to add in there. And I'm like, crap, like I don't want it to get consumed like my other one. Like that, my other one is definitely me, but this one I kind of wanted it to keep it a little bit businessy so I can see what's going on and what other people are doing. And I did like 2 cat videos, and now like I'm getting him in there. I'm like, shit, I messed up.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point to try to curate your For You page. If you're looking to like grow your following, you need to find people that are kind of in that same space and kind of be inspired by them, because you're most likely going to show up after one of their videos if your video does well.
Exactly. And the cool thing is you can have up to 3 accounts on your phone. So I do tell people, look, definitely create one that's like a personal one, that even if it's just for you browsing to be happy and enjoy the content. And then if you have a business one, try to gear it to that so you can like get those ideas. Cause I get so much inspiration off my For You page, tons. I'm like, oh, I could be talking about that too. And I love to tell people, if you see a video of somebody speaking about something that you are going to, and you think, well, they already did it, I can't. And it's like, no. The thing is, you could even say, I always say this too, you could even say the exact same thing. If you're ever in a room, and let's say me and you were in the same room and we said the exact same speech, word for word, half the room is going to resonate with you, half is going to resonate with me, because we're different in the way we approached it. And just you vibe with certain people regardless of what they say. So even if it's like the similar messaging, you weren't the one that said it. They said it. You have a message too. You have value to bring. So
Yeah,
say it. Like even if it's very similar, it's okay.
no, that's a really good point, and I don't really think about that too much, but I'm going to be like looking at that a lot, because I feel like I see a lot of the same kind of messages, and I'm like, oh, that person also had a really similar idea. But I might follow somebody else because maybe I like their style or just their setup, even with their video. I just like the vibe they're giving off, maybe.
Exactly. You just speak your value, even if somebody else is speaking it too. And Gary Vee says it all the time. He's like, why would you be scared to, like, if your niche is oversaturated, that doesn't mean anything. You have your own story to share, your own experiences. And he said, how many people just pick one person out of a whole niche to follow? Like typically they follow everyone because they want to just consume as much information as possible. So he's like, they're going to follow you too. If you have a great message, they'll also follow you. They're not like, I only follow Gary and that's the only person I picked. Like you don't just get to pick one. You can pick them all. So that's what's cool too.
Yeah. I feel like I have that habit with animals. Like I can't not follow them. Do you ever feel really bad about not liking an animal? Sometimes I'll just get guilt tripped into liking something or following somebody too. Like I'm not going to just follow one cooking account. Yeah, exactly. I got to follow them all. I got to see all the recipes. Everybody has really good value and a different way of showing me the food too.
The platform is so much more fun. Facebook is, to me, is really depressing. I go on there and I feel like I honestly feel numb after getting off because I'm just like, wow, I just heard a bunch of people complaining most of the time. Like literally people just hating on each other. And then I'm like, I got to get off of here. And I was the guy though, I'm telling you before TikTok, like if you said give Facebook up for a month, I was the one that was like, I can't. Yeah. Like I couldn't even go a day. It was like, and then TikTok came along and I was like, well, Facebook, what? Well, who's Facebook? And every time I go back, I literally am on like for 2 minutes. I'm like, get off. And it's horrible.
No, it's steals your time. TikTok is a great time suck. Sometimes I'll just go into like, I'm only going to watch for about 5 minutes and then an hour passes.
Oh my gosh. It happens.
It's great. And then I wait for my boyfriend to come home so that I can show him all of the TikToks that I just liked for that day and I can watch them again and then we can laugh together.
I do the same thing, except for my wife, like, cool. Like,
yeah, I know. It's so disappointing when you show somebody a really like a TikTok that you really loved and you're like, watch it. And they're like, okay, thanks.
Yeah. What's your most viewed video?
I think that my most viewed video is a Furby related one.
I saw that one.
It got reacted to on some YouTube channels as well. And people came to tell me about it, which was awesome. And I also had another video of me getting like a fake TikTok tattoo when they changed their name to TikTok.
Right.
And PewDiePie had actually reacted to it.
No
which
way.
Felt really great. And he didn't even like he gave like a very low effort reaction, but I was really glad that I didn't get roasted. So
Yeah.
because I was trying to make fun of the name change and everything. It wasn't me trying to be like cool, like trying to make
Right.
people think that it's a real tattoo, but people were so mad because they're like, that's not real. Yeah, I know. That's the joke. Okay, I get it. But it's funny, like what catches on. But that Furby one recently, I also reposted it
Yeah.
like 6 months later, and it got the same amount of views, I think, 6 months later. People were like, oh, I saw this again. This is great. Love
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like, thanks for the refresh because I loved that video. I think
Yeah.
that's a good strategy too. Is some people they don't think of that, but if you had a year-long content, you can repost some of the older ones that did well just to refresh, and nobody's gonna be like, "Wow, we've seen this before." Like most people would be like, "This is so cool," and in 6 months you're gonna have a whole different followership or people on
Mm-hmm.
the app that might not have seen that video. So don't be as scared to do it. And like you said, sometimes you're going to get an influx of people who might be like, this is dumb or whatever. You just kind of have to ignore it. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
great people in the app that send out little reminders saying, hey, look, if your video is getting hate, just sit back and enjoy the views because the hate comments actually help drive so much
Yep.
traction. And it's going to happen regardless. Once your video hits the For You page, get ready. You're going to get a mixture of responses.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think, yeah, recycling content is great, especially if you're really, really busy and you can't post that day, you can just repost something. I had success reposting something that didn't do well the first time, and then the second time it blew up. So
Right?
it's a timing thing too.
It is.
It's random. Sometimes you have no idea what will take off.
Right?
So I have to go back to my following page for a bit to just check up on people and see how that's going. And I think that's why you see comments sometimes that are like, I haven't seen you in like a year. That's
Exactly.
because it's so saturated. At the same time it grew so much
Yeah.
on TikTok that
Mhm.
now you really have to find a way to stand out or be consistent, I
Definitely.
think, is the big thing. If you're not posting at a consistent time every day, you're probably going to get lost in
Yeah, would
there.
you say that's one of the top strategies is to be consistent?
Yeah, I think that's the top strategy that I recommend for any social platform is
Yeah,
consistency. It's what it wants is you to just feed it consistently. I think
exactly.
you can I do skip days sometimes where I just can't post that day, and it's
Yeah.
good to take a break. You shouldn't feel like you have to post. It's okay. You can get your numbers back. But I do try to post at least once a day. I don't
Mhm.
have time to do like 3 times a day. Doing
Yeah.
that many skits is like a nightmare for me. And also, I just don't film around my boyfriend. I wait
Right.
till he's gone at work. I never have filmed in front of him. I think I did once, and it was awful. I
You just
hated
felt
it.
like, yeah, so out of
I'm
place.
like a different person online. Everybody is. Everybody's a little bit different
Yeah.
when they're online. So I don't like my friends knowing what I'm like. So I don't do that.
So other platforms as well, they were so conditioned, especially on Instagram, like post only once a day. And some people even post only like 3 times a week. And some were like LinkedIn, where they were like, hey, you cannot post too much or it'll
Mm-hmm.
affect the algorithm. So a lot of people sometimes even do, 3 to 4 times a week on there. And so it wasn't conditioned where on TikTok, it's like, "No, you can post as much as you want," which is kind of cool. So,
Mm-hmm.
and, we were also conditioned in the past, like Instagram, like you said, where it's just this picture perfect life. And we have that in our head. Like social media needs to be this set way where you have to be perfect. And TikTok is changing the game for that. So you get to just show up and it can be so simple as I've done a few videos where you literally just hold it and you share your message and post it. And it took me like 30 seconds and it might not do that well, but you might get one comment
Mm-hmm.
that now you just created another video because you said some people
Mm-hmm.
ask you a question and now you have another video to create because they asked you a question and you might even that only that one person might see it, but you might have helped that one person and that's really exciting. And you might not even get that on Instagram. Let's say you post and you might get zero comments or they'll be like the bots like cool video.
Yeah.
I like your
I
aesthetic.
like your hair.
Yeah.
That's the one that I see a lot. Yeah, I feel like for me too, I tried to do the 3 to 4 times a day thing because I feel like a lot of people were kind of saying that that's the optimal time. but that wasn't for me because then my quality of content would go down. And I just wasn't having as much fun with it because I just was burnt out, didn't have any ideas. So trying to separate that out and have just one a day is good. You just have to make it manageable for you.
And depending on your content, like you said, yours takes a little bit more effort because you have to kind of plan it, you skid it out, you actually act out different scenes. So I think definitely something like that. I know a lot of people who do those only do post once a day typically because they just don't have time. But if you're an educational content creator, you could post more, you could post up to 10 times. I know this one guy who does renovations, and he posts up to 10 times because he shows all the little steps of the renovation he did for the day. So it depends on your content, but it's cool that the algorithm doesn't punish you or whatever for posting more than once or whatever the typical.
Oh yeah.
You could post. I mean, if you were to post 50 times in a day, you could.
Yeah, I've seen people do like, oh, I'm going to have anybody that likes this, I'll duet with it. I'm probably going to regret it. She did, but she did it and it was fine. It worked out. I don't know if any of it like drove anything up, but I don't think it hurt her either to do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, be careful what you ask for because my daughter did the same thing. She said, well, she didn't do a duet, thank God, but she said she commented in the video saying, notice how all the comments say liked by creator. And that was just
no.
We all of us in our house had to log into her account to help her because she had like we went to bed and we already liked like 12,000, but when we woke up there was like 60,000 comments and I was like, are you kidding me?
I love that you guys have a little system, your team. I would love that.
We are.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to have to like have a family just for that.
Yeah, we're very supportive of each other's like TikTok and try to help each other out. And we like help give ideas too for each other. Like, yo, you should do this today. And they're like, that's a good idea. And it's really cool. I think it's really fun to share your stories, even if it's not your family, just having a community. And the great thing is you can find your community right on TikTok too. You can start a little chat with them and maybe talk offline and create some fun ideas. And but the great thing is your followers will want to help you as well. They love to give ideas.
I see it from that, especially because I don't have a lot of friends that use TikTok, so I can't really rely on them to give me an idea. They're like, I don't know, just make a funny video. Well, that doesn't help me. Thanks. So I have to.
Do they like your content at least?
Yes, I have some fans that are friends, which is nice. But I know like which friends to share that stuff with and which ones that I'm like, you know what? I don't really care what you think. You're not going to get it.
Right.
It's okay.
Exactly. Some of them won't get it. They'll watch it and like, what the hell is this?
I don't take it personally though, because my mom doesn't get half of the stuff that I make either, but she still is very supportive and that's what's important.
Oh,
she's
sweet.
like, that's funny. Don't know what that is. Don't know what that means. Don't know what simping is, but that's cool. I tried to give her like a whole TikTok lesson and I think it just went past her, unfortunately. Right. But all she got from it was, my daughter makes nice videos and she'll tell all of her friends. And I'm like, that's nice.
And they get on and see, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
If somebody's listening to this because they just decided to listen to this podcast and they got into this far and they're saying, I'm going to check this out. And they're sitting there on their phone right now. I just want to warn you right now, the first videos you will see will not be geared to you. It will not be your For You page. It's because it just doesn't know where to start. So you have to give it some time. It just really quickly, actually. So just give it some time. Maybe give it a whole day to kind of like some things that you do enjoy. And then as you continuously log on and go in, you'll start realizing it's a great place.
Yeah, no, that's excellent advice. And also if a video takes off of yours, it could be the first video that somebody sees of TikTok, which is really exciting because my boyfriend is very, very new to TikTok.
Oh, cool.
And when he did the onboarding experience, I believe he had to check his interests, which I never had when
I really
did that. Yeah, I'm pretty positive.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to Google that because that would be huge. That's exciting to know. On my BizTalker For You page is crazy. I don't see any teens or kids. It's all like adults. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Because on my other one, it's like a lot of teens because I like a lot of my daughter's things and things like that. And as a brand like talent manager, I'm looking for those creators.
Mm-hmm.
Like I personally, we are looking to get Gen Z creators, so I'm
Right.
constantly have to look for them. So I have to have them. But on my other one, it's refreshing to me. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. This is people of my age and my demographic talking about things I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's really
Maybe,
interesting.
maybe if there was a way that you could pick out like top hashtags that you always want to see in your feed,
Yeah,
like hashtag millennial. A lot of people will use that just to
that's
find
awesome.
other people like them,
Yep,
not necessarily because it has anything to do with the video.
right. I think there's a lot of people on TikTok as well that share like TikTok hacks and tricks and stuff like that. I see some of their videos and I'm just like, no, why are you teaching this stuff when it's just not true? Like there's
Yeah.
people who say use hashtags and then there's people that say don't use them at all. I personally feel like they're great because you can specifically say, hey, millennial,
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody might actually just go search for that to find people of that niche or that thing. And if you don't use it, it's not going to get categorized in there. Even though I don't
Yep.
think that they're like I really feel like the hashtags aren't weighted. They can still do good without them. But it's just more of a being able to search and find people within that
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I agree. I think to use them, and I use them
Yeah.
because I found so many people by searching a hashtag and then seeing their content.
Yeah. I always use hashtags. I think the only time I don't is when I really can't think of something to
Yeah.
put down on that. And I have seen them do fine. But where I actually feel like it's weighted sometimes is if you do captions in your
Mhm.
video
Yeah,
and you can include like keywords there. I think it
totally.
kind of knows what your content is. And you can kind of see how the algorithm works. Like last night, I posted a TikTok and I got like okay views in the beginning. And then you can kind of see once it hits past that 1K view,
Yeah.
it kind of gets boosted again.
Yep.
So I think they have a system where they boost things that they think will fit too.
I agree. I do think that the algorithm reads way more than we think. I think
Mm-hmm.
it even might be able to pick up things we're saying
Yeah.
because specific videos, like it's easy one. Anytime my daughter does that, it kicks out. So it's like it's weird
Mm-hmm.
how the app kind of knows, and I think that it can filter those types of things, and even you'll see people talking about very similar things right after another. I think they eventually like they can almost categorize them. It's weird. The algorithm, it is very
Yeah.
advanced, but there's so many people on there that are just preaching all these different things. And I tell people this. I'm about to make a video about it actually, and saying, look, here's the secret to TikTok. But be consistent, post things that you're passionate about, and like do it in a fun way, and engage with your following. That's really it. At the end of the day, there's all these people like new sound alert. If you use this sound, you'll go viral. I'm like, bull. Like I've tried them
No.
all. I've done all my research. It's just you get lucky, or if you see the people that do like that video did take off, is because you looked at the content and you're like, yeah, because that was really good content.
Yeah.
It's
Or
because they use the
also,
sound.
that's usually what they post. Like, that's why viral sounds don't necessarily work well for me.
Yeah.
Skits do, because that's what people want
Yeah,
from me as a skit.
exactly.
And if I'm all of a sudden just relying on sounds to do my job, that doesn't really work.
People are always looking for the secret to everything. And it's just
Yeah.
consistency is so key. There's so many people out there who are like, I tried it for a week and I only gained like 10 followers and then I quit. And I'm like, okay, like it
You
takes
got to try
time.
longer.
Yeah, you have to like give it honestly, give it a year
Yeah.
and just show up and just see what happens. And even after a year, there's so many creators out there who've worked at something for 5 years and then they finally took off. I mean, look at Mr. Beast's story in a way. He's a great example of that. I mean, he's dedicated his life to it. And after finally 5 years or whatever, he's like just breaking it out there and
Mm-hmm.
being well known and being talked about. But he didn't give up. He was consistent with it. He kept going. And there's so many creators like that. I've had a chat with them. They're like, I've been creating for years on YouTube or this, and I finally made it here after years and years of work.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you just don't know what the timing is. And when it happens, you're like, well, that kind of makes sense that it would happen now.
right.
And it can also come in waves. And what I like to give as a suggestion as well is if you feel like you're seeing a big jump in your views, then you need to lean into whatever you're doing correctly. It's a wave. It's like you're surfing and you need to catch the wave and you're going to ride that wave as long as you possibly can. eventually it might kind of dip down, but you got to kind of just work that out. I feel like you'll see it. You'll see your chance, and there's many chances you can have too.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it as waves, the waves don't just stop. They keep coming. So like, yeah, you might be sitting out there paddling for a while once you like the wave ends for you, but another one will come, and it does happen. I see so many creators go through it, and they do. To every single person, to all the creators out there go through it. They will be on a massive wave and then just kind of be steady. And then all of a sudden you'll see them take off again. And you'll see people commenting all the time, "Oh my God, where have you been? I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you."
Yeah.
And it's like, just, yeah, keep your head up and keep being consistent. That's the only way. If you quit after that, then nobody will ever see you again.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many creators that were extremely popular like a year and a half ago. That's kind of like a really big prime time for TikTok. And they're seeing their views struggle a lot, even though they have like 1 million followers.
Right.
Because maybe they didn't keep up with it. Maybe they kind of got bored.
Exactly.
It can be a big thing. The algorithm changed too.
It does.
So you have to change with it. And it's unfortunate. It's frustrating sometimes. Like I'll be down on myself, but you can't get in that headspace. You kind of have to like pull through.
And you do have to adapt. As much as you like a specific content, you kind of have to see, okay, well, that's not really working out. Let's try this. And maybe that takes off and you're like, okay. And then you can kind of bring back the other stuff in a way again too. But you do have to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, if this is what you want to do as your hobby and you're really passionate about growing, you have to be adaptable. That's the way it is. It's with business too. As a business owner, you know, you could have that same small mom and pop shop from 50 years ago and run it the same way. Well, guess what? Like in reality, technology changes and everything kind of advances and people move on. And unfortunately, if you're going to stick with your old ways, you're going to get bypassed by somebody else. Somebody's going to take in and take over. So it's kind of the same way with content. You have to just be adaptable and understand that there's going to be changes and be okay. And you kind of get used to it. It doesn't happen just overnight. You kind of have to you'll start emerging and seeing the trends change and just kind of go with it. And if you don't, you'll kind of get lost.
Yeah. And you shouldn't be so hard on yourself about views as well, because you're always going to think that your views aren't enough. Like you can have a video do really, really well. And then you're like, well, I got to have everything else do that well. That's not the case. Right. It's a really bad way to think.
Totally.
So yeah, I saw, I don't know if you saw this TikTok, but it was a pretty popular sound of like this guy saying, you know, 30 views doesn't seem like a lot, but if 30 people walked into a room and said, "I'm interested in what you're saying,"
boom.
That's great.
I love that.
That's a lot of value.
Tons. How great. Like, yeah, if you're like doing a business presentation and 30 people just showed up and was like, hey, you'd
that's
be
what
ecstatic.
I think of it.
No, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I just think of it as like, if when I was in school, I loved to do these like school projects and make people laugh when I was in high school. I just treat it like that. Like, oh, I got to entertain 100 people. That's amazing. When am I ever going to have that chance?
Right. I always let people know as well. I'm like, what platforms do you use for social media? They're like Instagram or LinkedIn. And I'm like, oh, well, what's your views like there? And they're like, none. Like, or what? And I'm like, okay, so your TikTok's actually doing pretty good if you think about it. If you just started, let's say, and you only have like 100 followers here and you're getting 500 views, but on LinkedIn, you have 3,000 followers and you're getting 100 views. So, and you've worked like 5 years there on LinkedIn. So you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Don't look at followers, look at views and engagement as well.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. How can people find you?
They can find me on TikTok at Maddie.Kirby. And then there's Instagram is Maddie Kirby. All of it is Maddie Kirby. I'm everywhere.
Perfect. The cool thing is, for anybody listening right now, if you want to go find those, just go to the description of this podcast and you'll be able to see all the links clickable right to Maddie's pages. So it's easy for you to find. Maddie, I really thank you so much for taking your time out today and jumping on the podcast. It was really fun being able to talk all about TikTok and your experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun.
Love this episode of BizTok? Let us know with a review. Also, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Follow us on TikTok at BizTalker. Don't just be a TikToker, but become the next BizTalker.